The night reeked of blood and moonfire. They thought she died that night, the fragile Luna who dared to love a king she could never have. But death never claimed her, vengeance did. Now, she's back, colder, stronger, and burning with the fury of 1,000 broken vows. The werewolf king who betrayed her doesn't know that his lost mate walks the earth again, wearing a new face, and a heart forged in pain. Love once made her weak. This time, it will make her deadly. Chapter 1, Shadows on Hollowmere. The mist clung to Darian's boots as he crouched atop the cliff, eyes tracing the quiet streets below. Hollowmere slept, but he did not. His wolf stirred beneath his skin, twitching at a faint scent carried on the wind, a scent that belonged to her. The girl he had sworn to protect, long before she even knew her own name. Compassion. Reckless kindness. Every movement of hers mirrored her mother's grace, and that truth cut him deeper than any blade. The memory of her as an infant flashed unbidden, the tiny hand curled around his finger, oblivious to the blade he once held above her crib. A growl escaped him, low and involuntary. The leaken blood in the air pulsed faintly, whispering her awakening. She didn't yet understand the world she belonged to, and he was the only one who could guide her. The thought tightened his chest, a mix of duty and fear, guilt and longing. The wind shifted. Danger was close. Magnus agents moved unseen through the fog, a silent reminder that his presence here was both necessary and perilous. Darian melted into the shadows, heart hammering, wolf and human alike alert. Soon, he would have to confront her. Soon, he would have to face himself. Chapter 2, Midnight Watch. Night draped Hollowmere in shadows, and Darian moved with the silence of a predator. He had watched her from a distance before, studied her routine, but tonight was different. There was a tension in the air, the subtle hum of magic he hadn't felt in years. He followed her through narrow streets, unseen, as she knelt beside a boy with a twisted ankle. Her hands worked gently, tying a strip of cloth to stop the bleeding. Her empathy struck him like a physical blow. She had inherited more than just her bloodline, she carried her mother's heart. Darian's wolf growled softly, warning him of unseen danger. From the shadows, he glimpsed flickers of unnatural movement, agents of Magnus, lurking too close. Protecting her meant more than secrecy now, it meant action. He tightened his jaw, forcing his fear and guilt into silence. She could not know. Not yet. As he retreated to the edge of the street, eyes never leaving her, he felt the first tug of her awakening, her wolf stirring. His pulse quickened, a dangerous thrill rolling beneath the tension. Soon, she would see him. Soon, her life would change forever. Chapter 3, The Awakening. The first true sign came at the edge of the forest, just beyond the town's cobblestones. A faint shimmer, like moonlight dancing on water, rippled along her skin. Her wolf stirred fully for the first time, senses flaring at the latent leaken energy surrounding Hollowmere. Darian's breath caught. He had known this day would come, had prepared for it for years, but nothing could calm the surge of fear and desire inside him. He needed to contain her awakening, but the pull between them was magnetic, unrelenting. Every instinct screamed to step forward, to claim her, to guide her. Yet guilt coiled in his chest. The blade he had once lifted to her as a child haunted him. How could he reconcile that past with the protector he now had to be? The forest rustled behind him, agents of Magnus were close, drawn by the same magic he now feared. Darian's jaw tightened. She did not yet know what she was, or what danger followed her. But he did. And he would not fail her again. Stepping into the shadows between trees, he whispered to the wind. Soon, you will know your destiny. And I will be there to keep you alive. Chapter 4, The Sigil in the Woods. Arya had always felt drawn to the forest, a quiet whisper tugging her deeper among the towering pines. Tonight, that pull was stronger than ever. A faint, glowing sigil hovered on a moss-covered rock ahead, its light pulsing like a heartbeat. She stepped closer, entranced, unaware of the eyes watching her from the shadows. Darien emerged silently, limbs coiled with tension. His heart hammered, not with fear, but with anticipation. She had followed the lure, and now the truth would shatter her world. Aria. His voice, low and steady, made her start. She spun, eyes wide. Who's there? I'm the one who should have kept you safe, he said, stepping fully into the moonlight. I need you to listen carefully. You're not who you think you are. Her brow furrowed. What do you mean? You are the lost heir, he said, choosing each word with care. Your life, your bloodline, it's why they're hunting you. Why I've been protecting you all along. Shock rooted her to the spot. Her wolf stirred beneath her skin, sensing the truth before her mind could accept it. Darien's gaze softened, almost painfully. He reached a hand toward her, torn between wanting to hold her and fearing her reaction. Before she could respond, he felt it, her pulse quickening, leakin magic flaring uncontrollably. Chapter 5, Flight and Fracture. The forest trembled with energy as Aria's wolf surged, her body beginning to shift in ways she couldn't control. Her hands clawed at the air, her breaths came in sharp, panicked gasps. Darien lunged, grabbing her arm as she teetered on the edge of a collapsing bridge. Aria. Focus on me. Her eyes met his, golden flecks shimmering in the moonlight. Fear and defiance warred within them. The wolf in her roared, instincts threatening to overtake reason. He steadied her with a firm grip, heart clenching. She's stronger than I anticipated, but I must protect her. No one else can. A scream echoed as a plank snapped beneath her feet. Darien acted on instinct, shifting partially, his wolf strength anchoring her. Together they staggered back to solid ground, breaths ragged, hearts pounding. I can't control it, she gasped, trembling. I know, he said, voice low, nearly a growl. And I'll keep you alive. That's my promise. For the first time, she truly saw the storm in his eyes, fear, guilt, desire. The tension between them ignited something unspoken, dangerous, and irresistible. Chapter 6, Reluctant Alliance. Hours later, under a canopy of stars, Darien guided her to a hidden grove near the forest's edge. Safe, for now. You have to trust me, he said, letting the words sink between them. I will teach you to control this, but you cannot run forever. Her jaw tightened, pride clashing with desperation. Why should I trust you? You. I know, he interrupted, gaze dropping. I've made mistakes. But I won't make this one. Not with you. Her eyes softened despite herself. His wolf scent lingered in the night air, a strange comfort she couldn't deny. He observed her closely, noting the subtle shift in her energy as she relaxed, however slightly. She's beginning to understand, though she doesn't yet know how much danger is closing in. A rustle in the distance snapped them both to alertness, agents of Magnus, drawn by the sigil's awakening. Darien's jaw clenched. This was no longer a simple lesson. The hunt had begun. Stay close, he whispered, wolf instincts humming beneath his skin. I won't let them take you. Chapter 7, The Hidden Enclave. Darien led Aria through a labyrinth of narrow forest paths, finally arriving at a hidden enclave carved into the mountainside. Moss-covered stones glimmered faintly with ancient lichen sigils, humming with power. This is where you'll learn to control your abilities, Darien said, his voice both stern and tender. His eyes scanned her closely, gauging her reactions. Aria's stomach nodded. The grove felt alive, almost sentient, as though it could sense her fear and uncertainty. She swallowed, trying to mask the quiver in her voice. I don't even know where to start. You start by breathing, he said simply. Ground yourself. Your wolf is part of you, but it doesn't have to rule you. Hours turned into days as Darien pushed her gently but firmly, teaching her the basics of leaking combat and sigil magic. She stumbled, nearly losing herself to her wolf on more than one occasion. Darian's hands would steady her, his gaze unwavering, and a tension would spark between them, frustrating, electrifying, undeniable. At night, when the enclave was silent, she caught glimpses of his vulnerability, a flash of guilt when he corrected her harshly, a moment of longing when he looked at her after she fell asleep exhausted. She sensed there was more to him than the silent, grim protector. Chapter 8: The First Trial. The next morning, Darian set her a test, an obstacle course laced with traps designed to push her wolf and magic to the limit. Aria's first attempt ended catastrophically. A swinging blade narrowly missed her shoulder, and a surge of uncontrolled sigil energy sent debris flying in every direction. She collapsed, panting, hands bruised. Darian knelt beside her, brushing a lock of sweat-damp hair from her face. "You're stronger than this, but strength isn't everything. Control, focus, that's what will save you." Her wolf whimpered beneath her skin, restless and impatient. "I can't. I keep failing," she admitted, voice trembling. "You're not failing," he said firmly. "You're learning. And I'll be here every step. But you have to trust yourself, and me." For the first time, she felt something more than fear. A flicker of trust. A flicker of desire. Chapter 9: The First Confrontation. Their training was interrupted by a sudden, violent intrusion. Magnus' lieutenant had tracked the sigil's energy to the enclave, and a group of lichens in dark sigil-marked armor attacked without warning. Darian moved with precision, shielding Arya, his wolf instincts fully alert. Arya, despite her uncertainty, tried to fight back, her powers flaring unpredictably, sometimes helping, sometimes nearly harming herself. "Stay calm. Focus," Darian shouted, grabbing her hand mid-strike to stabilize her energy. Their proximity made her pulse race, half fear, half something else she didn't want to name. Together, they barely managed to repel the attackers. Arya's exhaustion was total, but the adrenaline left her buzzing, and her wolf felt alive like never before. Darian lowered her to the ground, hands lingering on her shoulders. "You did well," he said quietly, almost to himself. "Better than I expected." Her chest heaved. She wanted to argue, but the weight of the day's events, and the charged tension between them, made her voice catch. He averted his gaze, clearly torn between professional composure and a desire he could no longer hide. "Rest. Tomorrow, we start again." As she drifted to sleep, Arya realized the forest and Darian were changing her, shaping her, and pulling her deeper into a world she had never imagined. And she couldn't deny that part of her wanted to fall into him, even as her instincts screamed caution. Chapter 10: The Artifact Plan. Darian sat with Arya in the Enclave's war room, ancient maps spread before them, sigils glowing faintly along the edges. "There's an artifact," he said, tracing a silver line to a distant mountain fortress. "It can stabilize your sigil fully. Without it, your powers remain volatile, dangerous to yourself and others." Arya studied the map, heart pounding. "And it's guarded by Magnus?" He nodded. "I'll lead you there, but it won't be simple. Every step is a risk." Darian's eyes lingered on her, shadowed with worry. He wanted to protect her, to shield her from danger, but he also feared losing her trust. His past, what he'd almost done to her, pressed on him like a weight. She noticed the hesitation, but said nothing. Instead, she clenched her fists. "I trust you." It was enough to make him flinch, even as his guilt deepened. Chapter 11: The Betrayal Revealed. The trek to the artifact was grueling, through jagged cliffs and forests alive with dark magic. One night, as they rested, Arya's voice trembled. "Darian, why did you hesitate back there, when the sigil flared in the training grounds? Why did you?" He cut her off, face tightening. "There's something I need to tell you." Arya braced herself. The words came out in a rush, the confession that he had once been ordered to end her. A failed attempt, yes, but the revelation hit her like a blade. Why would you come back? Protect me, she whispered, fury and betrayal mingling in her voice. I couldn't, he admitted, guilt racking him. I can't forgive myself for what I almost did. But I can protect you. That's all I can do, and all I want to do. Her eyes narrowed, a mix of disbelief and hurt. Trust shattered in an instant, leaving them vulnerable, just as Magnus' lieutenant struck, ambushing them under the cover of darkness. Chapter 12, Defending the Air. The battle was chaotic. Aria's sigil flared wildly, her wolf fighting to break free of her control. Darien intervened, shielding her, fighting with a combination of strategy, raw power, and desperate emotion. He moved with a singular goal: keep her alive. Every swing, every maneuver was tempered by fear, for her, for himself, for the fragile bond they still clung to. You have to focus, he shouted, catching her as she faltered. Her wolf growled beneath the surface, sensing the truth of his heart, his loyalty, and the pain he carried. Despite the chaos, she glimpsed the man behind the haunted protector, someone willing to risk everything to atone, to love, to redeem himself. By the time the last attacker fell, both were bruised and bleeding. Darien looked at her, anguish and longing in his golden eyes. I can't protect you forever, he murmured. Arya, shaken but alive, realized he was right. Danger was only growing, and the war between them, Magnus, and destiny had only begun. Chapter 13, Training Under Fire. The Enclave's hidden glade was alive with magic as Darien guided Arya through a punishing regimen. Again, he commanded, his voice firm but gentle. Feel the sigil, don't fight it. Arya's hands trembled, sparks of light flaring erratically from her palm. She wanted to control it, to prove herself, not just to him, but to herself. Darien moved beside her, placing a steadying hand on her shoulder. Focus on me, Arya. Your power responds to intent, not fear. The air pulsed with their combined energy. Every failed attempt, every near misfire tested both their patience and trust. Darien's heart ached as he watched her struggle, but pride undercut the guilt. She was growing stronger, because of him, despite him, in spite of everything. By sunset, sweat and blood mingled on her skin. Darien stepped back, chest heaving. Enough for today. You survived, and that counts. She looked at him, exhaustion and frustration mingling. Yet there was a spark in her eyes, determination, the beginning of trust rebuilt. Chapter 14, The Ambush. They moved silently through the shadowed forest, reconnoitering Magnus' patrol routes. Darien kept close, senses sharp, every movement calculated. Then came the ambush, Magnus' elite striking from above and behind, a storm of magic and claws. Arya's sigil flared uncontrollably, her wolf surging. Stay with me. Darien shouted, intercepting a lethal blow and hurling her out of harm's way. Heart-hammering, he realized how fragile their victory was, how thin the line between survival and catastrophe. The adrenaline, fear, and undeniable desire intertwined, leaving both raw and exposed. They barely escaped, breathless, bleeding, hearts racing. But Darien's resolve crystallized, he would protect her at any cost, even if it meant risking everything he had left, including his heart. Chapter 15, A Vow in Blood and Moonlight. Later, on a cliff overlooking Hollowmere, the moonlight bathed them in silver. I've tried to hide it, to stay in the shadows, Darien confessed, voice low, trembling with emotion. But I can't anymore. I love you, Arya. And I will protect you, no matter what it costs. Arya's golden eyes searched his, hurt and hope clashing in her expression. Slowly, she nodded, a fragile smile breaking through the tension. I don't fully trust you yet, she admitted. But I will follow you. If you fight for me, I'll fight for myself. Darien stepped closer, letting the distance vanish. Their hands met, fingertips brushing, hearts tethered by unspoken promises. Outside, The wind carried a faint echo. Magnus was mobilizing, his trap ready. But in that moment, Darian and Arya embraced the point of no return. Their fates intertwined, their bond unbreakable, and their love, tested by betrayal, danger, and power, locked in for the battles ahead. Chapter 16: The Capture. The citadel loomed ahead, dark and foreboding. Darian and Arya had barely survived Magnus' ambush, but exhaustion was a luxury they couldn't afford. One misstep, a trap hidden beneath twisted roots, and everything unraveled. Arya was pulled into a cage of shimmering sigil barriers, her scream slicing through the night. Arya! Darian shouted, lunging, but Magnus' lieutenant materialized in his path, a wall of magic and malice. Darian's wolf roared internally, instincts screaming. He fought with everything in him, claws and teeth, magic and might, but the enemy was relentless. Arya's frightened eyes met his from the cage. He felt a crushing helplessness that gnawed at his chest. He had failed her. Chapter 17: Betrayal in the Shadows. They had regrouped briefly, nursing wounds and pride, when an ally, someone Darian had trusted implicitly, struck. A hidden dagger, poisoned, aimed at Arya. Darian intercepted it, taking the brunt of the attack. Pain exploded in his shoulder, and he stumbled, blood hot against his skin. Arya's wolf surged, enraged, but Darian knew she couldn't sustain it alone. "Run," he gasped, voice strained. "You have to survive, trust your bond." Her golden eyes filled with fear and fury. "No. I won't leave you." Darian shook his head, forcing her away. The betrayal cut deeper than any wound, tearing trust and hope apart. Alone and injured, he realized the weight of his failures. Every choice, every hesitation, had led them to this low point. Chapter 18: Moonfire Bond. Alone in the shadowed corridors of the citadel, Darian's despair threatened to consume him. Magnus' laughter echoed through stone halls, a reminder of how fragile they were. He closed his eyes, centering on the moonfire bond that tethered him to Arya. Pain, fear, guilt, all surged, but the bond pulsed back, warm and insistent. "She is alive. I can't give up. I won't." With renewed clarity, Darian drew upon the moonfire, letting it flow through his wounds, knitting flesh and focus together. The bond sharpened his senses, amplified his strength, and, most importantly, reminded him of what he was fighting for: not vengeance, but protection, redemption, and love. The path ahead was treacherous, the odds stacked against him, but the spark of hope within the moonfire bond ignited a determination fiercer than any fear. Chapter 19: The Spark of Hope. Darian emerged from the shadows of the citadel's outer halls, wounds still aching but resolve burning brighter than ever. He had felt the moonfire bond surge during his darkest moment, and it had shown him a truth he could no longer ignore: he could protect Arya and reclaim his own honor. He traced the symbols etched into the citadel walls, recognizing the faint glow of an ancient Leaken relic. Legends said it could amplify the sigil of a true heir. This is it. This is the leverage we need. Every instinct screamed caution, but his heart surged with determination. He would find the relic, awaken Arya's full potential, and face Magnus, not as a haunted assassin, but as the protector she needed. Chapter 20: Rallying the Loyal. Darian returned to the hidden enclave, moving quietly through the forest that had become their temporary refuge. There, the surviving Lycans waited, their eyes wary but loyal. "Tonight, we reclaim what was stolen," Darian said, voice steady, commanding respect. "We fight not just for the Empire, but for her, our rightful queen." Arya stood at his side, her wolf now calm, controlled, but pulsing with energy. Together, they began rigorous training, synchronizing combat, sigil magic, and moonfire resonance. Each strike, each spell, each shared glance deepened their trust and bond. The weight of the coming battle pressed upon them, but for the first time, fear was tempered by confidence. They were ready to face Magnus, but they would do it together. Chapter 21, Approaching the Citadel. Under the cover of night, Darien and Arya led their loyal pack toward the Citadel. The path was treacherous, traps, sentries, and corrupted sigil wards littered their path. Darien's focus was razor-sharp. Every instinct, every step, every decision balanced strategy with protection. He whispered warnings to Arya, but also encouragement, a reminder of her strength. The closer they drew, the more Magnus' oppressive presence filled the air. Yet Darien felt something shift, a calm determination replacing the dread that had haunted him for so long. The final confrontation was imminent, and they were ready. Chapter 22, The Threshold of Battle. The citadel gates rose before them like jagged teeth. Darien's wolf growled internally, anticipation and adrenaline surging. Arya's sigil pulsed in harmony with his moonfire, a beacon of unity and power. No turning back, he murmured, gripping her hand. The traps ahead snapped shut, barriers ignited, but they moved with precision, their combined strength guiding them forward. The walls of the citadel themselves seemed alive, challenging their every advance, but Darien and Arya pressed on, hearts aligned, courage renewed. As they reached the throne room, tension coiled like a predator. Magnus waited, smug, confident, but unaware of the storm that Darien and Arya had become. This is it. The fight to reclaim destiny, to protect what matters, and to finally forgive ourselves. Chapter 23, The Climax, Battle in the Throne Room. The throne room was a cathedral of shadow and light. Sigils etched into the floor glowed faintly, reacting to Magnus' presence, dark energy radiating from every corner. Darien's heart thundered, moonfire pulsing through him, connecting him to Arya. Magnus sneered, his eyes glinting with malice. You think you can stop me? A child and a broken wolf? Arya stepped forward, her sigil flaring, wolf form shimmering with controlled power. Darien moved instinctively to shield her, his voice low and steady. Together. Always together. The fight erupted. Magnus hurled bolts of corrupted sigil energy. Arya deflected with precise countermagic while Darien engaged in brutal hand-to-hand combat. Every strike, every dodge, every spell was an intricate dance of power, trust, and love. At the moment of highest peril, the moonfire bond ignited fully. A surge of light and energy emanated from Darien and Arya, merging their powers into a radiant storm. Magnus screamed as the bond overwhelmed his dark sigil, the throne room shaking from the force of their combined strength. When the dust settled, Magnus lay defeated, powerless, and the citadel's oppressive aura lifted. Darien collapsed to his knees, breathing heavily, arms aching, but relief and triumph coursed through him. Arya ran to his side, grasping his hands, her golden eyes glistening. We did it, she whispered, voice trembling with awe. We did, Darien replied, pulling her close, a long, healing exhale escaping him. And I've finally forgiven myself. Chapter 24, Falling Action, Healing and Reconciliation. Darien tended to Arya's minor injuries, brushing back strands of hair, marveling at the strength she had shown. Around them, loyal Lycans and allies regrouped, inspecting the citadel and securing Magnus' remnants. The emotional weight lifted, replaced by a profound sense of intimacy and relief. Darien finally allowed himself to voice what had been unspoken for months. I was haunted by my past, by what I almost did. But being with you, protecting you, it's what makes me whole. Arya pressed her forehead to his, eyes bright. And you did protect me. Not just from them, but from yourself. We both survived, stronger for it. Laughter, tears, and quiet smiles filled the room. Trust rebuilt. Bonds reforged. And in that moment, the Empire and their hearts were aligned. Chapter 25, Resolution, Destiny Fulfilled. Days later, Darien and Arya stood together on the Moon Citadel balcony. Below, the loyal packs of the Lycan Empire gathered, sigils glowing softly under the moonlight, harmony restored. Arya, now fully embracing her role as queen, held Darien's hand firmly. We've reclaimed more than an empire, she said. We've reclaimed ourselves. Darien nodded, a smile breaking across his face. From haunted protector to self-forgiving mate, he added lightly, squeezing her hand. Together, they looked out at the future, a united Leakin empire, loyal allies, and a bond forged in fire and tested in shadow. Their love, hard-won and unbreakable, would guide the next generation. Epilogue: A New Dawn. Months later, the Citadel was alive with new life. Darien and Arya trained the next generation of Lycans, teaching combat, sigil magic, and moonfire bond techniques. Their partnership was seamless as mentor, protector, lover, and queen all in one. The empire thrived, and so did they. Every challenge had forged them stronger, every trial had taught them trust, love, and forgiveness. Darien watched Arya laugh with the young Lycans, her wolf form occasionally shimmering in playful energy. His heart swelled. This is what it means to protect, to love, and to forgive. The moonfire bond pulsed between them, glowing faintly in the night, a promise of enduring power, unity, and love. Their destiny fulfilled, their empire restored, their hearts finally at peace. The end.